right, let's move on to number 7. Okay, 7. We want to use the 0, so we've got f of x equals negative. Yeah, 4, 5, and 6 we already did, kind of, sort of, with x minus 4, x plus 5. Okay, so to graph it, what I'm going to do is this. I know that it's negative, so it's going to be upside down. It's going to go through at positive 4, right? X equals 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And at negative 5. X equals negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now, all you need to do for tomorrow is just draw it upside down going through those 2 points. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to have 3 things. 1, it needs to go through the 2 zeros, positive 4, and negative 5. And 2, it needs to be upside down. Upside down because of the negative. Okay? That's all you have to do. Same type of problem you'll see tomorrow, except for it's different numbers. Okay? It can't be that bad.
Do you know y-intercept?
I don't need to know what the y-intercept is. Great question.
Okay.
I will later. Okay, I will later. On another question, I'm going to ask that, Caleb. Okay. Yeah. Number 8. Now, number 8's different. Number 8, we're actually going to have to find a little bit more information, Caleb. So let's look at 8. 8's different because we will have to find out where it goes through. Okay. So 8 says we've got x-intercepts of x equals negative 5 and x equals 6. Okay, so now it also has to pass through the point 0, negative 2. So I know this. I know my answer is going to be y equals x plus 5 and an x minus 6. Okay, I got those for my zeros. Okay, x plus 5 because we're going to use Quinn's rule, and x minus 6 because we're using Quinn's rule. Okay, it's the opposite, right? Now there's some number a here, which is either going to make it upside down, right side up, or whatever it is, and it'll help us go through the point 0, 2. So the point 0, 2 has an x and a y value. I'll put my 0 in for the x's, and I'll put my negative 2 in for the y. So I'm going to rewrite this as a negative 2 equals a 0 plus 5, 0 minus 6. I'm going to simplify this. Negative 2 equals a times 5 times a negative 6.
Wait, is it not squared?
You know what? When I multiply x times x, it will be x squared. Yes.
Okay.
Right? Good question. So then I'm going to have negative 2 equals a negative 30a. It has to pass through the point 0, negative 2. Good question. Okay. Now, divide. A will equal negative 2 over 30, which is the same as 1/15. Okay, 1/15. Now, let's rewrite our equation. So our answer is to put this 1/15 back in for A. So it's just going to be y equals 1/15 times an x plus 5 and an x minus 6. Now, if you want a half credit bonus point, FOIL it out and give it to me in standard form. This answer is fine for you, though, to get full credit, okay? If you want to go for the extra credit, please at least put down this because this is correct, right? And if you get the bonus part wrong, then at least you get it right, okay? I will. Okay, we'll look at number 9 in a second. As soon as Jay's good. Okay, number 9. Okay, to do number 9, I'm actually going to graph it first. We can take a look at what it looks like. And on number 9, what we have is 3 points. We've got 0, 0. I have 3, 4. And I have 6, 0. So let's at least take a look at it. Might get some information by looking at it. So 0, 0. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, 0. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the parabola looks something like this, okay? All right, so now, in vertex form, I can at least start with this. Okay, I'm going to go and write my applying Quinn's rule, y equals a times an x minus 3 squared plus 4, because that's my vertex, right? It's got to be my vertex because it's right in the middle of these 2 points, okay? So what I don't know, though, is the value a. It's got to be negative because it's upside down. I'm going to pick either point. Well, the easiest point is the 0, 0. They both will work, okay? They both will work, but let's just pick 0, 0, okay? Because that's a point on the graph. So that's an x value and a y value, right? You can pick either point, but 0, 0 is easier to work with. So we'll go 0 equals a times 0 minus 3 squared plus 4. I'll have 0 equals a times negative 3 squared plus 4. I'll go minus 4, so I'll go negative 4 is equal to 9a, because I squared the 3. I'll divide by 9, I'll have a equals negative 4 ninths. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and finish this up. All I need to do is put the negative 4 ninths here, and I'll rewrite this as an answer of y equals negative 4 ninths times an x minus 3 squared plus 4. And again, if you can get this in standard form tomorrow, I'll give you a half bonus point. Okay? How do you get in standard form? Write this twice and FOIL it, okay? So if you want to get this in standard form, write this twice and FOIL it, okay? Thumbs up so far? And thank you for being quiet. Everybody is going to get a chance to learn. Even the loudmouths are going to get a chance to learn, okay? Everybody's going to get a chance to learn. Hallelujah. Thank you. Okay? Julia, did you get it? Good. There you go. And then we'll do number 10, okay? You good, Julia? Okay, let's look at number 10. 10 and 11 should be easy for you, at least I'm hoping. Hoping they'll be easy for you. So 10. Yeah, of course you can, Jay. Number 10, I have a 8x squared plus 12x equals 0, okay? Now, if you want to find the zeros, there will be 2 zeros because of the x squared, 2 answers. So I'm going to common factor. Now I'm going to look for work on this, so you need to common factor. So they have a multiple of 4 in common, so I'll take a 4x. That's what they have in common. It's a multiple of 4, and they have an x in common. So if I common factor out of 4x, I'll have a 2x plus 3 equals 0. Okay? So once I common factor out the 4x, I've got 2 mini equations, right? And I need 2 answers. I've got my 2 mini equations. One mini equation is 4x equals 0, and the other is 2x plus 3 equals 0. And I'm just going to solve to get my 2 zeros. So that's easy. Divide by 4, x equals 0. Minus 3, I get a 2x equals negative 3. Divide by 2, x equals negative 3 halves. And those are my 2 zeros. Okay? So I factored. I had 2 mini equations. I set my 2 mini equations equal to 0, and I solved. Okay, slide it up a little bit, and I'll write down 11, okay? All right, 11. I have an x squared minus a 4x minus a 12 equals 0. And again, we're looking for zeros, so we're going to factor. Yeah, slide it up. Okay, we're going to go x and x minus 6 positive 2, because negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. But when I add them or do my double smiley, I'll get a negative 4. Okay, now, what I want to do is set them both equal to 0. My mini equations, x minus 6 equals 0, and x plus 2 equals 0. Okay, and I'll just solve. Plus 6, one of the zeros is 6, minus 2, x equals negative 2. Okay, those are my 2 zeros. So I'm looking for work tomorrow as well as answers, okay? Okay, we're getting there. We're pretty close. Okay, number 12. Now, in 12, I see this thing about a focus and a vertex. Okay, so I'm thinking, well, to do these, this is going to be our 4P. This is going to be our poster. This is our poster stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of graph paper. For me, the easiest way for me to do these is to graph, okay? So let's see what I have. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my axes. And if I have a focus of 0, -5, let's see, that's going to be 0, -5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my focus. And I have vertex of 0, 0. I know that it has to go as a frowny face because the parabola always goes around your focus. Always. It always goes around your focus, okay? Think about Apollo 13 where they took that spaceship and wrapped it around the sun, okay? So here's what I know. I know that P is equal to 5. Okay, and so 4P has to be 20. Now the equation I need is this one. Okay, I need this equation here. You guys can see it? So I need the y equals -1 over 4p x minus 0 squared plus k. Now, since the vertex is 0, 0, then h and k are both 0, 0. Hi. So what I need to do is this. Yeah. Hurry now, though. So, remind me. It's ASP stuff. Okay. So, the equation to finish this up is simply going to be y equals a -1 over 20 x squared. That's it. That's it. Because you don't need the zeros. I mean, you can put the zeros in, but you don't need the zeros, right? Okay, and we'll do number 13. Oh, thank you. Okay, so to graph it, you ready? I need, yeah, it's really wide, so I need 20, right? So I'm going to go 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's really wide, isn't it? Really wide. Okay. So this distance was a really good question. Why? Josiah, you asked that question. It was a great question. This distance is 4p, isn't it? Okay. Now we know it, right? Good question. All right. You guys ready for the next one? Same type of problem, except for this one's going to be sideways. You'll see why in a second, okay? So slide this up. Let's look at 13, all right? So again, I like to start by graphing it. I'm going to go ahead and try and graph it in. So I've got a focus at 6, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's my focus. And my directrix is at x equals -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now the vertex has to be right smack dab in the middle. There's my directrix at x equals -6. There's my focus at 6, 0. So my vertex is at 0, 0. Okay. Since the graph has to go around the focus, it is, do we have that one up? Well, it's this one backwards. It's this one, but backwards.
Morgan, the blue one.
It's the blue one. Oh, it's Morgan's.
Yeah.
It's Morgan, or the blue one. Morgan's is easier to see. The blue one might be a little bit more accurate. It's all good, though, okay? All right. Now, so we're going to use the x equals 1 over 4p y minus k squared plus h. Now, since the vertex is at 0, 0, h and k are 0, 0. So we won't need those, right? We won't need those. So p is 6. So therefore, 4p is 24. So I'm going to put 24 right there. So my answer is going to be x equals 1 over 24 y squared. And I don't need h and k because they're 0. Okay?
Wait, how do we know that P is 6?
Oh, great question. Let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And that's a P.
P is always the distance from the vertex to the focus or from the vertex to the directrix. Okay? Now to graph it, I don't even know if it's going to be wide enough because I'm going to have to go 12 and 12. So it's super wide, right? 12 and 12. It's just not going to fit on my graph paper, okay? But this distance should be 24. It's just, I don't have a big enough graph paper. Okay, you ready? So,
I thought you put the focus up there.
no. Think about how you'd graph this point.
I know, I think you had 0 or
6, 0. So think about 6, 0 is over 6, right? Right?
6.
Thank you. Okay. All right. You guys ready to turn the page? Okay. 14, 15. All right. Now 14, 15. I don't need to graph these. I can get the answers pretty easily. Now 14. Let's go to Quinn's rule. Okay. 14. Let me write it down. 14. I have a y equals 2x plus 5 squared minus 4. Okay? You don't need to graph this. We're just going to remember Quinn's rule. It's in vertex form. It's in vertex form, so our vertex is at -5, -4, opposite inside. And the reason we do the opposite is because that's what zeroes it out. The value of -5 would make this 0, and the vertex is the lowest point, right? That's why it works. Now, the line of symmetry, LOS, right, Annie? X equals, it's got to go through the vertex, right? Has to go through the vertex, so it's just -5. That's it. That should be an easy one for you tomorrow. All right, moving to 15. Am I going too fast? Okay, good. Thank you for being quiet. Loud children, thank you very much. Still love you, loud children, but thank you. Okay, y equals 3x squared minus 24x plus 7. Now this is in standard form. If it's in standard form, we're going to have to use x equals -b over 2a, all right? That's in standard form. So I'm going to go a negative 24 over a 2 times 3 because A, B, C. Okay, A, B, C.
So it would be a perfect.
Yeah. So, awesome. Double negative, right? Double negative is a positive 24 over 6, which is 4. X equals 4 would be the line of symmetry, okay? So we know for sure the vertex has to lie on that line. So I'm going to just take my 4 and plug it in. Plug my 4 in to get my vertex. So I'll go, okay, y equals 3 times my 4 squared minus my 24 times my 4 plus 7. Okay, and I'm going to use my calculator, and I suggest you guys do the same thing because we all make mistakes. I make them constantly. So I just let the calculator do the work. 3 times 4 squared minus 24 times 4 plus 7. -41, right? So that's a point at 4, -41. Okay? All right. Last problem. Nope, not true. Not almost done. Okay? Okay, let me know when I can whisk this away.
Right now.
Okay. All right, we got 16, then 17. We're almost done. 16, then we'll play a Kahoot. Okay? 16. So I've got h of t equals -9.8 t squared plus 20. Okay, now Landon, I want to actually answer one of your questions. This time it's not 16 because it's in meters, not feet. But this is gravity on Earth if you're measuring in meters. It's 16 if you measure in feet. Always, okay? Does that make sense? Always. 16 on Earth unless you have a parachute, right? -9.8 in meters unless you have a parachute. Yeah,
Can
Aiden.
I borrow one more piece of graph paper?
Of course you can.
No.
All right, so what we have is, after how many seconds does the water hit the ground? So when it hits the ground, what's the height? 0. So 0 equals -9.8 t squared plus 20. That makes sense. Set it equal to 0 and solve, okay? There will be two answers. One of the answers is going to be negative. We throw it away. So let's solve. Minus 20 minus 20, right? I got a negative 20 equals a negative 9.8 t squared. Divide by negative 9.8. Divide by negative 9.8. So let's just do that. My calculator 20 divided by 9.8 is a 2.04 equals t squared. So now I'm going to square root it. Yeah, to undo the square, I'm going to square root it, and in my calculator, I'm just going to take the square root of that number, and I get an answer of about 1.43. About t equals about 1.4 seconds. T equals about 1.4 seconds. Okay, that's not so bad, is it?
It's cool.
It's very.
So I set it equal 0, and I solved. Set it equal 0, I went minus 20, minus 20. Then I divided by negative 9.8. Negative divided by negative is a positive. And I took the square root of that division. Took the square root of that division to get t squared by itself. So I got a t squared. So to undo a t squared, we do its opposite. The opposite of t squared is the square root. Yeah,
Wouldn't. Oh, never mind.
it's okay. You always ask good questions. Good. Okay, now we are almost done. Everybody good on that one? All right. Here we go. Number 17. So we've got h of t. So a discus is being thrown, okay? Negative 9.8, my bad. Messing this up. Negative 9.8 t squared plus 24t plus 4. Okay, now describe the domain and range. Okay, so what is it in words? In words, what's the domain? In words, time, and the range, height. Good. That's it. Time and height. Perfect. Time in the air and height of the discus. Great. So what is the height? Well, let's use our t equals negative b over 2a, because that's the highest, that's the vertex, it's in standard form. So let's go and use negative 24 over a 2 times a negative 9.8. Here's my a and my b, right? All right, what is that? In my calculator, I'll tell you in a second. You're way ahead of me. I like that. 24, and then 2 times 9.8 is 19.6. And if I divide 24 divided by 19.6.
Wait, isn't it a negative?
Positive or it's a negative?
Great question. I canceled them already. Right? Right? You see that? So I got a 1.22. 1.22 is not the height. It can't be the 1.22. That's the time, right? That's the time to get to the height. So we plug in the 1.22 to get the height, okay? So that's my time. But I don't want the time, I want the height. So I'll go h of 1.22. The height at 1.22 seconds, negative 9.8 times 1.22 squared plus 24 times 1.22 plus 4. And I'm going to plug it into my calculator and see what I get, okay? All right, negative 9.8 times 0.22 squared plus 24 times 1.22 plus 4, and I get a height of about 18.7 meters. So that's the test. I mean, the review sheet's just like this, except for different numbers, so we should do pretty well. If you took good notes, we should do pretty well, right? I have it recorded, so if you want to go back and watch.